So we've been talking about how certain demographic groups are running away from Biden at 1,000 miles an hour. Namely, young people come to mind. He's just been hemorrhaging support among young people, but also Muslim Americans and Arab Americans. Guys, Biden had 59% support among that community. It's now down to 17%. And that number's a few weeks old. I wouldn't be surprised if it's even lower. Well, guess what? Axios is reporting that Muslim Americans in swing states are now launching an anti-Biden campaign. Listen to this. Muslim Americans in several swing states are scheduled to gather in Michigan on Saturday to start a campaign they're calling Abandon Biden, a reflection of their outrage over President Biden's handling of the Israel-Hamas war. Arab American and Muslim American anger could hurt Biden's re-election prospects in most of the 2024 swing states he won in 2020, as those groups have been heavily Democratic. Muslim American leaders from Michigan, Minnesota, Arizona, Wisconsin, Florida, Georgia, Nevada, Pennsylvania are expected to meet in Dearborn, Michigan to start the new campaign. That's a lot of states. That's a lot of leaders. Wow. The hashtag Abandon Biden 2024 conference is set against the backdrop of the upcoming 2024 presidential election and the decision to withdraw support for President Biden due to his unwillingness to call for a ceasefire and protest innocence in Palestine and Israel, the group said in a statement. Leaders from swing states will work together to guarantee Biden's loss in the 2024 election. The campaign primarily will focus on social media for now. Organizer Jailani Hussein of Minneapolis tells Axios. Hussein said Muslim leaders acknowledge that not supporting Biden could result in the re-election of former President Trump, who is disliked by many Muslim Americans because of his racist tweets about them and his effort to ban Muslims from migrating to the U.S. Quote, "We recognize that. In the next 4 years, our decision may cause us to have an even more difficult time, but we believe that this will give us a chance to recalibrate, and the Democrats will have to consider whether they want our votes or not." The Biden campaign declined to comment. A senior White House official told Axios this week that the White House recently met with Arab American leaders to hear their thoughts, and those conversations are ongoing. Those swing states all have notable pockets of Arab American and Muslim American populations. There aren't reliable statistics on how many are registered voters, but even tiny shifts of support in any of these super tight states that Biden won in 2020 could make a difference. The Muslim American population, which can include Arab Americans, Black Americans, and Asian Americans, is about 3.45 million, according to the Pew Research Center. The census doesn't collect data on religious affiliation in its demographic surveys or its once-a-decade count. An Axios review of 2020 results in these crucial states show that even if a sliver of the Arab American and Muslim American vote were to stay home or defect to Republicans, Biden could be in a deep hole. In Michigan, for example, Biden won in 2020 by 154,000 votes. Census estimates put the state's Arab American population at around 278,000. Biden won Arizona by 10,500 votes. The Arab American population in the Grand Canyon state is estimated to be 60,000. Biden took Georgia by 11,800 votes. The Arab American population there is at least 57,000. The Arab American Institute estimates that from its own polling that about 59% of Arab Americans supported Biden in 2020, but says its polling indicates that percentage has dropped dramatically in recent weeks. Like I said, to 17%. All the way down to 17%. Look, I'm going to put this as plainly as possible. Joe Biden, if he doesn't call for a ceasefire, and if he doesn't change his direction on this issue, he's fucked. He's fucked. I think it will almost certainly guarantee a loss. Because not only are you talking about 59% support down to 17% support, but they're explaining to you how these populations are very crucial in specific swing states. It's astonishing to me that he would continue down this path. Now, understand something, guys. The Israel lobby is massively powerful. But the Israel lobby is just totally propped up by money. It's a paper tiger. Because there's a lot of U.S. Jews who don't agree with AIPAC and DMFI and the Israel lobby. The Israel lobby, they're far right on the issue of Israel. They're anti-Palestinian human rights. They're for the Likud government doing whatever the hell they want to do, continuing the occupation, continuing the apartheid, now doing an ethnic cleansing and a genocide of Palestinians. This is a deeply unpopular position. The polls of young people in America and Democrats in America are totally over 60% against what Israel's doing. So the Biden administration is faced with a decision. There's a moral angle to it, of course. But then there's also, it's either we get the Israel lobby money, right? DMFI, AIPAC, etc. We get their money and their support, their institutional support, or we get the Arab American and Muslim American votes. And right now, their political calculation is it's more important to keep the Israel lobby support. That's clearly their political calculation. But I think they're wrong. I think they're empirically incorrect. Now, I'm not saying he has to come out tomorrow and say, from the river to the sea. No. But what do you have to do? Number one, stop arming the people committing war crimes on a daily basis. Number two, allow a UN condemnation through of Israel. Number three, forcibly restart the peace process. Make it so we address this issue once and for all, where Palestinians get their rights and we have a deal. That's all he would have to do, and these numbers would change. But I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to do it. And he's shooting himself in the dick. He's shooting himself in the dick, man. AIPAC is a paper tiger. They're very powerful, but they're powerful because of money. They control the politicians in the same way that any donor group controls politicians. But at the end of the day, if they're all bark and no bite, well, the actual bite is among the voters, Arab Americans and Muslim Americans, who are going to tank you so you lose. You have to try to regain their support. But again, I don't think he's going to do it. And he does it at his own peril. He really does. Because when young people are fleeing you, when Latino Americans are fleeing you, when Arab Americans and Muslim Americans are fleeing you, at some point, you have no more staunch supporters left. And it's the softest support in the world. So, hey, remember, guys, Marianne Williamson's running, Cenk Uyghur's running, even though there's some court cases along in his situation too, and Dean Phillips is running. They're all options. We're getting to the point now where we should all settle on one and full steam ahead and try to get them across the finish line, because it does look like we're marching into a second Trump term with how Biden's governing and how he's campaigning and the key groups that he's losing. This is untenable. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.